guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Cheryl, and today I'm here to bring you a long-awaited video. It has been a month, I believe, since I've uploaded anything, and it has been a month or so since I've actually fully read anything. I'm finally finished with school, so I don't have to deal with the stress of that anymore, but I've also finally picked up and finished a book in, forever. I don't know where this reading slump came from because I thought I was over my previous one. My only assumption is I was not over it like I thought I was, and I picked up, I think 2 or 3 books in this last month, but none of them have really caught my attention, so I haven't finished them. I don't know if I'm going to DNF them. I don't know if I'm going to continue to try to push myself through it, because the problem with me, at least, is when I try to push myself through a book, I tend to launch myself into a reading slump. So now that I'm finally trying to claw my way out of this reading slump, the last thing I want to do is just dive right back in. But I will say that the reason that I am out of this reading slump, and the reason that you've probably clicked on this video, is this beauty right here. Okay, first off, can we just talk about how gorgeous this cover is? If you don't follow me on Instagram, I will have that link down below, but the moment I got this book, I had to take a picture of it because it is gorgeous. Also, it's really thin, because this, Empire of Storms by Sarah J. Maas as well, has those really thin Bible pages. This is a 700-page book, but you would not realize that because these pages are so thin that the book is a lot smaller. And on one hand, I like it because it takes up less shelf space, but on the other hand, I always feel like I'm about to rip these pages. Today, I'm here to bring you my spoiler-free review for A Court of Wings and Ruin by Miss Sarah J. Maas. The reason I'm doing this spoiler-free is because, first, most reviews on my channel are spoiler-free, but also this book has only been out for about, I think, a week now, a little less than a week. A lot of people have either not gotten their copy yet or have just started reading it. I know not very many people have already finished it the way I have, so I don't want to spoil anything for anyone. Now, if you want a full spoiler-filled review, just leave a comment down below. I would be more than happy to do that because I have a lot of thoughts about this book. But yeah, without further ado, let's just get into it. Overall, I really did enjoy this book. I will say that my one biggest, spoiler-free gripe is the fact that the pacing seemed kind of off. Certain parts of this book just flew by, and I didn't feel like she paced the story really well. Without spoiling anything, the thing I was most looking forward to with this book, and I know a lot of other people were looking forward to, was Feyre's, maneuvering and manipulating with her in the Spring Court. But that really didn't last that long, and that was actually the biggest disappointment of the book for me. Now, don't get me wrong, when her and Rhysand were reunited, I had all the feels, but I really wish we could have seen a more manipulative and more, just the silent maneuvering of her in the Spring Court, as opposed to just back-to-back-to-back event and then she's gone. That's my biggest gripe, at least spoiler-free gripe I have. That being said, it wasn't enough to really detract from the story for me, although like I said, I did feel like certain scenes of this were super rushed. I know a lot of people have gripes with her books in general about the lack of diversity, and I do agree that that is something that is not really well addressed in this book. There is not really diversity when it comes to different skin tones and races. Most people are still described as just really tan. But there was, I think, an attempt at diversity in sexuality. I did appreciate that. I know a lot of people have gripes with the way she did it, and I can understand it, but personally, it didn't bother me that much. Hi, Milo. Can I help you? Like I said, I did appreciate her attempt. I still think she has a long way to go, and that she should take into account the constructive criticisms she has been given over the years, because that is something I feel she hasn't done, especially when it comes to diversity with races, and the fact that she tends to kill off the only people of color that she puts in her stories. But beyond that, there is just something addictive about her writing and her romances specifically. This series was originally classified as new adult for a reason. There are pretty graphic sex scenes, there's a lot of more adult themes, which is why it was not considered young adult. There's a time and a place for discussion for sex and YA, and this video is not it, but overall, the series was originally considered new adult, and then by this book, where the sex scenes got more graphic and more frequent. For some reason, they decided to classify it as young adult instead. So I would keep that in mind going into it. If you are not comfortable reading sex scenes, this series is not for you. A lot of people have just kind of skimmed by them because they're not plot points. You don't really miss out on anything. They don't personally bother me, but I completely understand if that is not something you are interested in reading at all. Just keep that in mind going into this, that, like I said, for some reason it has been rebranded as YA when it should not be. It should be new adult. I think the reason it is reclassified is because her other series are YA and really popular, so they're just trying to reach a wider audience. But like I said, they haven't changed the themes of this book at all, or this series at all. So the rebranding of it being YA instead of new adult just doesn't make sense to me. So if you are uncomfortable with sex and mentions of sex and things like that, I would keep that in mind going into this series. Another thing is, it does have trigger warnings, I would say, for rape, sexual assault, just violence in general. If you are sensitive to these topics, definitely keep that in mind going into it. There are no graphic descriptions of rape or anything like that, so I don't think you have to worry about that, but there are mentions of it and sexual assault in general, so keep that in mind before going into the series as a whole. But overall, I really did like the direction the story took. Now leave a comment down below, like, telling me, because I have no idea if this is supposed to be a trilogy or a series. Originally, it was supposed to be a trilogy, and the first, like, these 3 books feel like a complete trilogy. But she did leave some kind of threads up in the air where she could continue the series, and at the end of this, it says, the next installment is coming in 2018, but I've noticed with these books, the next installment could be, like, the coloring book, or could be just a small novella. So let me know down in the comments below if this is a full series, like, that's been expanded to, like, 6 books, like I think her Throne of Glass series has, or if this is a trilogy with some novellas and a coloring book, because, honestly, I'm torn. Part of me wants just as many possible books as I can from her with these characters, because I love almost every single one of these characters. All of the inner court and all of the main characters I adore. But on the other hand, I was content with the way the story wrapped up. I think she did a fairly decent job wrapping up the major, like, plot points that I would be afraid if she wrote another book in the series that it would just feel unnecessary. And that scares me, because I love these characters so much, and I don't want to see them, like, written in a way that just doesn't do them justice. So obviously I gave this book a full 5 out of 5 stars. My general feelings for the series so far have been, I believe I gave A Court of Thorns and Roses, the first book, a 3 out of 5 stars. I thought it was decent, but just mediocre. Like, I didn't really get what the hype was about. And then I got to A Court of Mist and Fury, and I gave that book a full 5 out of 5 stars. It was my favorite book of all time last year. It made me feel so many emotions. And then this book, once again, a 5 out of 5 stars. I do think I like A Court of Mist and Fury better than this book, which may be scandalous to some people, but for me, at least, A Court of Mist and Fury is when everything was revealed in the series, and it is when everything changed, and for the better. And so I will always appreciate that book for that reason. Plus, I read that book in, like, I don't even know, 2 days maybe? This book only took me 3 days, even though it was like 700 pages, because I could not put it down. It was starting to piss off my fiance, because he would try to talk to me, and I would just be like... And so, this book, this series, and part of me, like, regrets reading it so fast, because I waited so long for this book, and it's over, and if we're only getting a coloring book or a novella in 2018, then I'm just like, well, shit, what do I have to look forward to now? I guess I have to look forward to the next Throne of Glass book, but unpopular opinion here, I don't like Chaol that much, and I know I'm gonna have to read his book to be able to understand the next book in the series, so I'm not even looking forward to that. Yes, I know you're gonna lynch me in the comments, but I don't like him that much, so, yeah. He sees a birdie out the window, and he's losing his mind. He just, like, tries to shove himself through the blinds, and he's a fat cat. It doesn't work. So yeah, that's my spoiler-free review for A Court of Wings and Ruin by Sarah J. Maas. Like I said, if you want a full spoiler-filled review, just leave me a comment down below, and I will not hesitate to film that, because I can talk about this book for a long, long time. I have a lot of things to say about major plot points, the characters, and just things that happened. So if you want that video, like I said, just let me know down below. Other than that, I definitely hope to be more frequent on my channel. I don't know if I will hop immediately back up to 3 times a week, or if I will just try to get at least one video up a week, but let me know in the comments down below as well some videos you would like to see. Do you want a book haul? Do you want another unhaul? I've got a lot of those. If you want a specific tag, anything really, just let me know down below. I do have another video planned soon. It is going to be all of the books I have DNF'd. Just in general, because I haven't DNF'd that many books, but look forward to that. Hopefully I'll have that up within the next, I think, week or so. But yeah, like always, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Follow me on all of my social medias, which are always linked down below, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!